Hi, Algebra 1 lovelies. This is video 7 for interval notation, which many people do not know. So by the time you're done, check your box for your booklet. Make sure you're checking these practices too as you turn them in. It'll help keep you on track. And same thing with the quizzes. As you take and pass the quizzes, make sure you keep track of all that stuff yourself. So go to that page. So interval notation is a way to express a range of numbers. Okay, so not just a singular number, but many numbers between two. So we have parentheses. Interval notation is written with parentheses, which look like this, if the number is not included. Now I'll show you what that means in a second. Brackets, the notation is written with these brackets if the number is included. We also need the ideas of infinity. Okay, we have positive infinity, which looks like this sideways 8. That's numbers that go on and on and on forever in the positive direction. So once you go past 1,000 and 1,000,000 and 1,000,000,000, and it keeps going on forever and ever and ever, it never actually reaches that number because there is no infinity. It goes on forever. It also could go in the negative direction, so -1, -2, -3, skip a lot, -100, -10,000, -1,000,000. We keep going and going and going until negative infinity. So those are two new symbols that you're going to need to use. So we need these the parentheses and the brackets, and we need the infinities. So we're going to write these number lines using the interval notation. So notice on the number line, it starts at 4, and there's 5, 6, 7, 8, and it goes on, because that arrow means it goes on and on and on and on and on, till forever. So that means it starts at 4, and it goes on until that infinity, right? That goes on until forever. So it starts at 4, but there's an open circle, so that means that 4 is not a number. So 4.1, 4.2, anything past 4 is okay. So anything beyond 4 is okay, up until but not including 4. And then every number inside that range, so 5, 6, 7, and 8, and past and until we get to infinity. But we can't actually reach infinity, so we give that a parenthesis as well. On number 2, notice the difference. In number 1, we had an open circle, so 4 was not included. But on number 2, 12 is included. It's a closed dot. So this is where we use that bracket. So we have a bracket 12, and the range goes from 12 all the way, again, that arrow means it goes on and on and on and on and on until infinity. We can't actually reach infinity, so we use a parenthesis. So this notation means that 12 is in the interval in this range, 13's in the range, 14, 15, 16, 100, it keeps going on and on and on. So basically anything bigger than or equal to 12. So let's look at number 3. Number 3 looks like the same thing, except we're given this value, it's a 0. I don't know why it got cut off, but it's a 0. So it's anything smaller than 0. So like -1, -2, and it's got that arrow again, so it goes on and on and on and on and on. Well, it goes on in forever in the infinity. However, this is a negative infinity. So for our interval notation, it starts at negative infinity, and it goes all the way until 0, and because it's a closed dot and 0 is included in the interval, we put a bracket. So this means all the numbers that are greater than negative infinity and less than but equal to 0. Okay? So this one's a little simpler to understand. We have 8, it'd be numbers between 8 and 13. So 9, 10, 11, and 12 are all included, along with like 10.5, which is about right here. But 8 is not included, 13 is included in this interval, in this range. So the numbers start at 8 and go until 13, but you're going to have a different sort of thing. So on this end, you're going to have 8 as a parenthesis because it's that open dot not included. 13's going to have the bracket because it is included. Okay? So this is saying all those numbers between 8 and 13, not including 8, but including 13. So let's go to 5. 5 is talking about numbers, x, any number, greater than 3. Okay? So numbers that are greater than 3 are like 4, 5, 6, 7, 100 is greater than 3, 1,000 is greater than 3, and forever and ever and ever all the way up to infinity. So in our interval notation, we could say that it starts at 3 and goes to infinity. Okay, so there's our interval notation. Number 6 is numbers that are less than -1. So think about these numbers. There's like -2, -3. These are all things that are smaller, and they go on and on and on and on until negative infinity. So if we think about it on a number line, we have the smallest number is negative infinity, and it goes all the way up until -1. So again, we write them in order, like smallest to largest, negative infinity to -1. All right. Notice the difference in number 7 between the sign and this sign. We have the line under it, and in this sign we do not have the line under it. So this is that bracket and parentheses thing. So in number 7 we want numbers that are bigger than 4, but 4, it could be equal to 4 as well. So numbers that are bigger than 4, like 5, 6, 10, 900, goes on and on and on until that infinity. So we want big, 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 big numbers, but it starts at 4. And remember, it's got that equal to sign, so it starts in 4 with a bracket, comma, goes all the way up into infinity. So you see what this interval notation is doing? It has a start value. So our start value is 4, and our end value is this infinity. Okay? Start, end, and it always has to go smallest to largest. So if you have a positive infinity, it always needs to be over here. If you have a negative infinity, it always needs to be on the left. Okay, last one. So numbers that are smaller than 15. Things that are smaller than 15 are 14, 13, 12. Okay, we're getting smaller and smaller and smaller until we get to 0. And then we keep getting smaller, so -1 is smaller. -2 is smaller, and remember it goes on and on and on and on all the way until negative infinity. So if we write it from smallest to largest, we have negative infinity to 15. Okay, and infinity is always going to have a parenthesis. 15, because of that sign, that line under it right here, is going to have a bracket.